Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lions Den with another news and commentary. Like Hari from your world, my fellow YouTuber always says, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. This article comes from the New York Post. It says 2020 Olympic ratings plummeted to historic lows. NBC Universal saw record low ratings throughout the 2020 Olympic Games, forcing them to give advertisers extra airtime to make up for the loss. Since the Olympics opening ceremony on July 23rd, a fraction of the audience that tuned in for the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Games returned for the Tokyo contest, and viewership remained low throughout the 70-day competition. Last Sunday, NBC's primetime audience was down 51% from the 26.7 million viewers who watched the Rio Games in 2016. And during the first week of contest, typically the most watched ratings were down by nearly 60% most nights, according to Nielsen. NBC has been hustling to schedule make goods or extra commercial time for jilted advertisers following the low ratings. Pete Verikwa, NBC's chairman, acknowledged the 2020 games were different and he expects about 99% of the ad obligation to be wrapped up by Sunday night. They are different and we have never shielded away from that, said Verikwa of the Tokyo Games. I'm going to stop you right there. Why is the NBC one of the most biggest sports events of our time has lower ratings? Maybe because what you did to Jakari Richardson, or maybe because of what you did to Simone Biles, or because you banned Black Lives Matter paraphernalia, or because you banned an Afro swimming caps from even for black swimmers could wear if they have dreadlocks, cornrows, or even afros alone. Maybe it's because of that, and the double standard of the situation, or maybe because of the pandemic, or there's other reasons, but majority of the time is because of the Simone Biles situation and the Jakari Richardson situation. I'm just saying. Now, with that being said, it says we said this was a different Olympics necessarily, so but it's still wonderful, it's still great, and it's still the best 17 days in sports. Yeah, right. Despite the rosy sentiments, Andy Billings, director of the Sports Communications program at the University of Alabama, said it's difficult to sugarcoat the numbers. It's probably NBC's worst case scenario, but it's probably a worst case scenario that they would have been able to predict months ago, Billings says. When you look at the numbers, it's hard to be pleased with them. The reason for the low ratings are varied. About 36% of the pandemic-wary Americans reported less interest in the Olympics than usual, according to the Mammoth University poll taken in late July, and only 3% had more interest than they did in the past. Get this, guys. 41% of respondents said they had no interest in watching the games at all. Damn. 41%? Compared to just 16% who said they had a lot. And 36% of Americans thought it was a bad idea to hold the games at all amid the pandemic. Patrick Murray, the director of Mammoth Polling Institute, said part of the indifference, particularly from Republicans, was discussed over athletes making political statements. It's funny that they mentioned that, guys, because they never said why black people didn't want to watch it either. They always focusing on white people or conservative people saying, "Oh, because of what happened to Gwen Berry." But they did not one time they even asked why black people didn't watch the Olympics either. Because majority of us boycott the Olympics as well, all because of the Jakari Richardson situation, the Simone Biles, banning Black Lives Matter paraphernalia, banning the Afro swimming caps that black athletes, swimming athletes need if they have dreadlocks, cornrows, or afros in their head. Maybe that's why. And they said while political demonstrations were largely absent from Tokyo, Statements made during Olympics qualifying events such as hammer and thrower, Gwen Berry's decision to turn her back on the flag as the national anthem played appeared to be a sour good chunk of would-be watchers. But as I recall, Gwen Berry has every right to do that because of the Star Spangled Banner's offensive third verse. But they don't want to talk about that. They want to sweep that under the rug. The Olympic spirit is a bit damper this year, Murray explained. The delay from last year and lack of spectators have taken the edge off the typical anticipation and excitement for this event. But the emergence of Black Lives Matter in the sport world has also led to a backlash in some Americans. Yeah, white Americans. Anyway, during the first week of the games, NBC Universal Chief Executive Jeff Shell chalked it up to bad luck. There was drumbeat of negativity, he said, and there has resulted in linear ratings being probably less than we expected. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the New York Post article. You know, karma is something, ain't it? You notice they're always focusing on why white viewers didn't want to watch the Olympics because of the Gwen Berry situation. But not one time they didn't even ask why the black viewers didn't watch the Olympics. Since they refused to even ask that question, Lions Den will gladly answer it for them. On behalf of ADOS, FBA, Black First, and others, woke blacks out there, the real reason why we didn't want to watch the Olympics, or we boycotted watching the Olympics, is because of the Jakari Richardson situation, which, by the way, she was basically, according to say, the rules are rules. As Roly Poly Martin always say, rules are rules. But then there's racism behind that. When, Jakari Richardson was getting kicked out of the Olympics because he was tested positive for THC marijuana. But Megan Rapinoe, the soccer player, introduced CBD, which is also marijuana, CBD products, and using her sister using CBD for the Olympics, and they allowed her to play. That's one incident. Another incident, you got a guy named Allen, I can't pronounce his last name because it's kind of funny, was accused of sexually assaulting multiple women on the fencing team. Yet they invited him to the Olympics as an alternate. And yet, if it was a black athlete, they would not invite them at all. And rightfully so, because you were accused, even though there are allegations, but you were accused of sexually assaulting multiple women, and you still invited to the Olympic Games anyway. And then there's, added insult to injury, there's Simone Biles, one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, the GOAT. And when she decided that she didn't want to, be a part of the Olympics because she had to take care of her personal issues, her mental issues, you got critics, bad critics attacking her. You got people on social media attacking Simone Biles for her decision, and rightful decision. So that's why a lot of black viewership or a lot of black people decided to boycott watching the Olympics, because it's the stuff I just told you guys. And you notice they always focus on why white people didn't want to watch it because of the Gwen Berry, but never once talk about why black people didn't want to watch it either. So y'all let me know what you think about this. I mean, this is called karma. It shows you that when you do people wrong, this always happens. Y'all let me know what you think. Like, click, subscribe, and remember to click the notification bell for all the news and commentary. With that being said, it's Lions Den signing off. Deuces.